hello and welcome to the ROPESCAST, the independent voice of the Middle East. I'm Ksenia Svetlova. ROPE stands for the Regional Organization for Peace, Economics and Security. We are a young organization that works to lay the groundwork for a post-conflict Middle East by connecting forward-thinking Israeli, Palestinian and Middle Eastern emerging leaders with like-minded peers all across the region. We share a holistic vision for the Middle East, where everyone has more to win from conflict resolution and integration than to lose. If you are looking for more information on ROPES, please visit our website, ropes.org. And today our very special guest is Mandana, who is Iranian-British social activist, very well versed in everything that is happening in Iran, and we are very proud to say also an alum of ROPES. Dear Mandana, it's really fantastic to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining in.
Thank you, Ksenia. I am very proud to be a member of the ROPES alumni, and also I'm very honored to be invited onto this program.
So it's also great to see a flag on your background. It could not be unnoticed. This is the flag of the monarchy, yes, of the Iranian.
No, this is actually the flag of Iran. The monarchy flag will have oak leaves and another leaf. I can't remember the name in English at the moment. So it will have the leaves and also will have the crown. But from the request that has been made, because we're looking for a democratic Iran at the moment, and we are not choosing what at the moment what we want at the end of it. So at the moment we are all uniting for a free Iran. We are just displaying the sun and lion flag.
So this is the flag that we often see in the demonstrations, yes, of the Iranian community in London and also in other places.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, I go back because we are looking for a democratic Iran, and after we've taken Iran back, there will be the proper voting, and then they will be decided by people of Iran in Iran what kind of government they want. And if people choose to go with monarchy, then we will have a monarchy flag. But this is the flag of Iran, regardless of whether you believe in monarchy or not.
Mandana, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born, and when you left Iran, and how do you keep in touch, especially now with the internet cuts? How do you manage to receive information and to keep in touch with people who are dear to you in Iran?
So I was born and brought up in Iran, in the south of Iran, and I, because of what was happening in Iran, my family decided that I had to leave Iran, which I did. I came to UK. I was quite young. I was only 19 when I came to UK, and then did my education. And of course, it was extremely difficult coming from such a different culture. People might not think about it, but extremely different culture. Even the family life is very different. But I came here, and for a few years, because I felt I was on the verge of depression, I decided that I was going to throw myself into the society in UK and hope that I can sort of feel partly at home, at least, or try and make UK my home. And eventually, of course, and that was something I wanted to do, to get myself away from feeling depressed and sad all the time. And of course, eventually I met my husband, who was English. I married him. And actually at the birth of my first son, something in me almost woke up again. And I became extremely homesick. I really wanted to be home. Of course, extremely difficult for me to go home. So I started a community, organizing community events for the Iranian community. And it has since continued. So it's almost 30 years I've been doing the things for Iranian community. And then, of course, the flag, as I explained, in the Iranian flag, and the national anthem that sings is about Iran and keeping Iran well, has always been part of the events that I held, because I believe I'm Iranian, despite living in Britain most of my life. I think where you're brought up and the culture you brought up almost is the root that is grown inside your body, and that's where you feel like your home is. I am very dedicated to the community where I live, of course, and I think I'm one of the most active people in the community, not just for Iranians, but for English too. I'm proud of that because I live in this society. I think I owe to be active and work for the better society. And hence I am sort of keeping on with the community and the Iranian community. And of course, when Mahsa was murdered in Iran,
Mahsa Amini, yes, the
Mahsa
Kurdish
Amini,
woman.
yes.
Yeah.
So she was murdered because of their showing some of her hair. She did have some hijab, but it wasn't completely covered. And they beat her on the head so much that she had a brain hemorrhage and unfortunately died. I became then very active in taking Iran back. So I'm quite active in the revolution that's happening in Iran at the moment. So yes, I'm hoping that we'll take Iran back and we bring peace back to the Middle East, really.
Do you imagine yourself going back to Iran? I mean, well, maybe not to stay there, but to visit. What's the first thing that you will be doing if you will manage to go back?
Ksenia, I dream about that day every day, and I can't tell you that how much my stomach just gets into a turmoil, really, thinking that I would be allowed to go home in freedom without having to worry that I'm there and somebody would arrest me or what will happen to my family and all the rest. So my plan is that on the day that Iran is free, I will buy the first ticket that is available. My plan is, or I feel the duty that I have as Iranian, I feel it is my duty to go back and help rebuild my country. Unfortunately, within the last 47 years, minimal amount of money has been spent on Iran, on the people of Iran. We have a lot of children that walk around the streets. They don't have a home. They don't have a family. They don't have food. They've never had education. Psychologically, God knows what they've gone through. So my aim is that I'm going back and I'm going to be putting my time as a volunteer to help the children of my country to gain health mentally and physically, and give them all that they need in order to bring their abilities back out again so that they can achieve what they really are capable of achieving. So that's my thing.
Well, maybe you and I can go together. I always dreamt to visit Iran and studied a lot about Iranian culture and architecture, especially when I was a student of the Middle Eastern studies. And one day it's funny actually. I've been to Dubai and I met there a young Iranian girl, and well, we are both in Dubai, so I didn't feel any fear. I told her that I'm from Israel, and I told her that I dreamed to visit Iran, and she looked at me, why? Why do you want to visit Iran? Because obviously she didn't feel comfortable there, and she was not covered, and she was very young, vibrant, a young lady. And I told her, listen, I would like to go to this famous mosque in Isfahan and to see the blue domes, of the Iranian Persian architecture and so on. And she told me, mosques, that's all we have, mosques. We don't have nightclubs. We don't have places to go out to have a normal life. I will never forget this conversation. Like for me, it was like, yeah, like mosques. And she's like, I cannot stand this mosques anymore. But
unfortunately, I think, when you live in a environment that is so suppressed and people are not given their right, and you are forced in believing in something, you're forced into following something, then you kick against it. Iran has, as you said yourself, Iran has a huge amount of history. I'm ashamed to say that I haven't seen most of it either, and that's one of
you also left very young, so
yeah. Absolutely, yes. And the mosques in Iran, beside being a religious place, are extreme art place. When you look at them, they are absolutely beautiful. And to think all those years ago, the Iranian people actually built it. They put that art in it, and it's amazing. It's something to be proud of. Regardless of what the building is called, it's an amazing art that belongs to the Iranian people. But I think when you talk to somebody like this young lady who had most probably come to Dubai to have some freedom and do what she wanted to do, that they go back and think, okay, so when you look at the mosque, they are representative of this dictatorship in Iran, so I don't like them. And I think it will be one day that people realize, you know, at the moment, the emotions are so high that I purposely not discuss any religion issues at all, because emotions are high and people don't necessarily think clear. So I stay well away from it and I discourage it really. But at the same time, I think, you know, we need to think positively. We all have a right to believe in whatever we want to believe. That's our basic right. So mosques are mosques, churches are churches. But as an Iranian, I celebrate the art and I celebrate the diversity that once upon a time Iran used to have. And we will again have it. I know that. But it's just going to take a little while to build back into that.
Well, you know, I believe that also, you know, for Iran and for Israel, for other countries, when there will be no coercion to, you know, engage in religious ceremonies and to embrace something that perhaps you personally yourself, you know, you respect, but you are not really part of that, there will be much more respect and much more, positive feelings about all of these symbols and buildings and ceremonies and so on. So maybe we will live to see this day. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I hope so. I think we will. I think seeing what is going on, and I have to say, if any of the people in other countries that have been subject of attack from Iranian government, as an Iranian, I want to apologize, but at the same time, I want to say we did tell you, we warned the world for many years. Many years, we have been telling the world what the Iranian government is like, but nobody wanted to listen. And I think Israel, unfortunately, has been at the forefront. And other, you know, people of Iran have been at the first forefront of the receiving end from the Iranian government. And then Israel has been the second one. So continuously, they have attacked us. They have tried to harm us. I think very openly, they said that people of Iran didn't matter. And, you know, they weren't there to help people of Iran or to build Iran. And you see, the hypocrisy when you look at these people, that, you know, I have to wear hijab when I go to Iran. I have to be, you know, I have to at least pretend to be a Muslim. But when you look at their families, they live in America, they live in Canada. And my gosh, even the dressing, nothing like a traditional Muslim girl. So you can see that none of it is fact. It's just a way of keeping people under and spending the fortune the Iranian people have in their country on something to just gain power. And I don't know, I cannot work out how a human being can be so ruthless. So yeah, absolutely. One day we will be free to talk about whatever we want and believe in whatever we want, without, as far as it doesn't harm anybody else. I truly and honestly believe religion is something extremely private. And again, people ask me what religion I am. Majority of time, I would say to them, see my behavior. If you like my behavior, we can go and come. If you don't like my behavior, it doesn't matter what I call it. You know, that's irrelevant. So I think, yeah, religion is a very private thing. And I hope in the future, for Middle East, definitely, not just for Iran. I think Iran is going to be the first country to show that freedom again, that democracy, and the rest of Middle East that is not democratic, hopefully will follow. And we will have a much, much nicer MENA region where the rest of the world will want to come for seeing the history. Because let's, you know, be honest, Middle East.
Imagine the volumes of tourism that we can have in this regard for both Israel and Iran. I mean, oh my God, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
You know,
prosperity and success. Yeah, absolutely. You know, about religion, just to, you know, put the final dot on that. There is this phrase that I like very much. It belongs to the late Egyptian president Gamal Abdel Nasser. Al-din lillah wal watan lil jamia. The religion is to God, but the homeland is to everybody. And this is something that, yeah, you know, I think that it's easy to, you know, respect this phrase and to embrace it. Yeah, Mandana, so I wanted to ask you about the current situation in Iran. In the last 2 months, and since the protests in Iran were violently dispersed and the internet was basically shut down,
Yes.
how do you manage to fetch information, truth about what is going on in Islamic Republic of Iran right now?
So, as you correctly said, unfortunately, in January, we had the uprise, and the latest figure that has come out is something around 36,000 people within 2 nights or 2 days were shot dead. Some of them were included people who were injured and they were in hospitals, and the Revolutionary Guard had gone into the hospital and executed those people who were injured. They shot them in the forehead, so there is no way they can deny it. Even saying that, they still deny it. And then they charged people millions and millions of pounds, which is like thousands of pounds, to get their loved ones' bodies back. So some people couldn't afford it. They never managed to take their bodies and bury them. Then, of course, it was also a complete blackout. We could not contact any family, any friend. The only thing some people could do, because they have some of the Starlink receivers in Iran spread around, not many, a few. So some of the information did come out, but not much. And then, of course, when they opened the internet, the rush of videos that were coming out were and horrendous scenes. There are not scenes that I would let a young person or a child to see, because they are absolutely horrendous. People in the streets swimming in their blood, and then this IRGC walking by, shooting them when they realize they're not dead yet. And after that, of course, we are all the Iranians outside Iran, majority of, I should say, Iranians out of Iran are holding their breath, thinking, when is the help coming from Israel and from America in particular? And of course, eventually the help arrived. And when they attacked, I cannot tell you what emotions I had. The moment I found that it had started, I was just crying and crying. And the cry wasn't just joy, but the cry was a release of tension for so long, but also joy of thinking, okay, we will get our country back. The help has arrived. We need that help. But at the same time, the worry that my loved ones, and I have many loved ones back in Iran, that can be harmed. But what can you do? And at the same time, I haven't been in touch with anybody since January, purely because the internet is very, very on and off. You will be lucky to catch it. But at the same time, because I'm active in the revolution, I worry that my activeness will cause harm to my family. So I stay away and not call them. I try and find information where it has been hit to see if it was anywhere near my family. And to be honest, Ksenia, unfortunately, Iranian people, and it is extremely sad to say this, we have paid with our blood, with the life of our loved ones. And my loved ones are no more dear than somebody else's loved ones. If I knew that I could go to Iran and be effective and still would shed my blood, I will go tomorrow. But I know that on my arrival, I will be arrested and executed. So I don't make the effort. I don't make that attempt. But I can tell you that not being able to talk to your family in this day and age is just unbelievable that the government of Iran allows themselves to do this. Our government of Iran does everything that they want, regardless if it's against human rights laws that we have in the world, against every rule we have in the world. And it is really saddens me that the Western world in particular keep quiet. They decided to keep quiet about it. I mean, some countries up to yesterday, they refused to accept what was happening in Iran. They would not come and give Iranian people a hand to get rid of a government that caused problem, not just in Iran. They caused problem all over the world. Britain, they said they intervened something like 30 terrorist attacks in Britain for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, all stated by the Iranian government. So why would you not help us get rid of this threat? You know, makes no sense, absolutely no sense.
Mandana, on that point, I want to quickly ask you, because there were a lot of publications that there are actually IRGC people and elements that were working quite freely in Great Britain, and there are tons of mosques that are affiliated officially with the Islamic Republic, and there is clergy and so on. So, you know, I'm not really surprised because, you know, at the time, I covered the London Tube attacks in 2005, you know, as a very young reporter. And I was just surprised to find out that all of the most extreme figures from Egypt, from I don't know, Jordan, you know, all of them, they lived in Britain. So now it seems that, you know, these guys, most of them were, you know, out or arrested, but the Iranian ones, they are still roaming free, you know. So can you explain why is it happening? So, you know, what is done, you know, to stop it?
I would love to explain, Ksenia. We are all stunned by the way British government is behaving, to be honest, because you know, one of the guys called Ansari, who stole a lot of money from a bank in Iran, which he set up. He stole all the money, and one of the most expensive houses in London is owned by him. He lives in London. We have campaigned. We have told the government that he is a key figure in the Iranian government. And it is funny. They tell us, oh, we're investigating. Now, how long does an investigation take? We have all the proof you guys need. Unfortunately, we campaigned and we closed down one of the big mosques that belonged to the Iranian government in London. And very shortly after, they reopened it. Last week, it was a scene of they attacked a car that was going by that had the Iranian sun and lion flag on it. They attacked the car in front of the mosque because he was displaying the flag. Now, we're supposedly living in a democratic country, you know, but I don't understand what is going on with the British government, but it is extremely worrying. Even, you know, President Trump was quite stunned by the way British government behaved. And it is just seems like at the moment our marches, as most probably you saw, event that went on in Munich last month, I think, yes, last month. Time seems to go fast. And how the Munich people were saying how wonderful it was, how peaceful it was, how everybody stayed back and cleaned up, and everything was amazing. We're exactly the same, regardless where we hold the marches. In London, at the end of the march, people from the team are brushing the streets that we're in, picking up any rubbish, regardless of whether it was dropped or not during the march. We don't damage anything. We're very peaceful. But we say the slogans we want to say. We play the music we want to play to say that we are against the Iranian government that governs in our country at the moment, and we want the government changed. And our leader is Prince Reza Pahlavi. And to think that British government, since these marches have become on a regular basis, they have done their utmost to cause us difficulty so that we stay back. I could not believe it that a few weeks ago on my way to London, as we arrived in London, I hung a flag out of my window, which we always have done. And as a police car was going opposite way, he turned around, came next to me, and with the worst behavior and attitude, told me to get the flag in. And I was like, why? And he was like, with a really aggressive voice, telling me to get the flag in. And I was like, but why? And he was just so aggressive that I just pulled the flag in. And I thought, okay, this isn't good. And he carried on. And unfortunately, some of the police are amazing. They're really nice. They behave appropriately. Some of them are really aggressive. I believe some of my colleagues in London have made a complaint, but nothing has come off of it. I would love to know what the British government politics are at the moment. I have requested to meet with my MP, with my Prime Minister, and most of the time you just get a blank. Nothing comes off of it. Why are they doing this? I don't understand it. I do
Well,
understand.
I think that partly, that explains the no, not only British, but in general, international silence about Iran, about the behavior of the security forces there.
Absolutely. I have a friend who last year was told that she could not be, because she was threatened by another community, that they were going to kill her. And they said they will chop her head off. So when she took this to the police in UK, they said to her that they couldn't defend her. I was absolutely shocked. They asked her to leave the country. So she lived, even though she's British, they said, we cannot defend you. So she went and lived in America for over a year. She recently returned. And when she returned, they told her not to attend any marches, not to go anywhere there is gathering until, it settles. Well, it's not going to settle, not until we got rid of the tyranny in Iran. And it amazed me that, I am a British person. I have a British, I've sought to be British. And I would have thought the government of UK has a duty towards me to keep me safe, to make sure my rights are, I am able to practice my rights. And unfortunately, I can't say that I am extremely disappointed. Maybe one day we will find out what is behind all this, but at the moment I can just say I'm disappointed.
So maybe let's go back to what is happening in Iran right now. Again, it's very difficult sometimes to understand, and also there is not much information that is going out, especially from the provinces like Kurdistan and Ahwaz. What is your sense? Is this regime cracking? Are there some signs, that there might be some change from within, maybe uprisal, even though in Tehran, but maybe in the periphery where the ethnic minorities live, because they were, volatile for quite some time. And also in this, in January, we saw quite a lot of examples of that, So what is your take, Mandana? How do you see, what is the results of the current, almost 1 week of a military operation in Iran? What happened since then?
So Ksenia, I am part of the one of the tribes or folk tribes in Iran, and we have an organization since this uprising that we have representatives from all different tribes that live in Iran. We don't use the term ethnic minorities. Iran is a country that is built of many, many different tribes or different folks. I was talking actually this idea that a few days ago came out that President Trump has spoken to the Iraqi Kurdish, and they are going to be the foot soldiers in Iran for, to help free Iran. And it raised a lot of worry, because why would the Iraqi Kurdish people come and free us? We've never asked for that. We don't want that.
Maybe he meant the Iranian Kurdish militias, but got mistaken.
Yeah. I think some of them are apparently part of this movement that they were talking about. But then again, of course, his office came out and denied that there was such a discussion at all. But because I'm lucky enough to be part of this organization. So it's a congress of folks, Iranian folks. And so I have people from Ahvaz, who are the Iranian Arabs. I have people from Kurdistan, different parts of Kurdistan. I have people from Azerbaijan in Iran, and we have Baluch people, and they all say that, of course, we have parts of these organizations or a few minorities within those groups that want to that want to do things that are not for the good of Iran and the rest of their tribes. But we are at the moment talking that we can take Iran back. We don't need any foreign forces to have boots on the ground, as Prince have said. Our leader in this revolution has said so. So we have weapons and we have the people to do it, rather than the CIA, as it was put, giving the foreign soldiers to come into our country and or arm them so they can come in and take the country back from this government. Why don't they come and give the weapons to the people of Iran who are already trained, they can do it, and they have leadership. And what my take is, to be honest, when I talk to different people, the news, the bits of news that we get from different places, the government is definitely failing, is falling, absolutely no question about it. At the beginning, when they killed the supreme leader, the news came out that the whole family were dead. So Mojtaba Khamenei also was pronounced dead. And then 2 days ago, we heard completely opposite, saying Mojtaba Khamenei is alive and they are choosing him as the new supreme leader. Now, I don't believe he's alive. And I've talking to a lot of my friends. We believe this is a psychological war, that the Iranian government thinks they're being very clever, so they are putting him to be the supreme leader. And even if he was alive, most probably he'd be extremely injured and won't make it out alive. I have to say thank you to the Israeli soldiers who dig these guys out and kill them for us, get rid of them. And I have to say at this point that people might think I'm really happy, somebody dying, I'm happy. If you hear of atrocities and the murderous acts that this government did, you would be happy to hear they are dead too. So I see this government falling very soon. They are desperate to hang on to the power in Iran. And thankfully, and I say, I would beg Mr. Trump and I would ask Bibi not to stop until the government in Iran is so weak that people of Iran can come out and take their own country. If you leave it for them to come back onto the power, you will see a much worse reaction from them. They have never bowed to anybody. So they will come back if you allow them to. But we need you to keep going until the government is so weak that people can come back into the streets without worrying that they're going to be gunned down and massacred to take our country back. We have a leader, we have a plan. We know that our country is extremely rich and we can bring the country back up and we can make our country into a democratic, Middle Eastern, beautiful country that it should be, it will be, and then we will help the rest of Middle East to come together and be a beautiful Middle East rather than uncertainties and worries that we have at the moment. So I know it will fail. I know they would be finished very soon. And I know that we will go back. And soon I will invite you, once it's safe, Ksenia, to come and we'll go together and see the historic sites together.
Oh my God. I cannot wait. Really a beautiful vision. Unfortunately, I think that it might take some time until we get there. I mean, at least that's what also I hear from different Iranians that we're in touch with. Some of them they expressed fear that if the protesters will not be armed, because currently they are not armed, the regular men and women who are courageously protesting against this brutal regime, what can they do against it with their just bare hands? Are you not afraid that if they will be ill prepared, they will fail, and then there will not be another chance for something like this?
Absolutely. I think that's the key thing, that we cannot, and as Prince Reza Pahlavi have said many times, people need to stay home until it is safe for him to say that they can come out. Now, he has plans, and I know he is talking to other people that are not Mr. Trump or Bibi, but he's talking to their other people. And there are plans. There are plans to keep people safe. There are plans that will definitely we will take Iran back. But what it has to happen, that America and Israel cannot back down, because this is a monster that is just been wounded. And you need to get rid of it. Otherwise, a monster that is wounded is much more dangerous than a monster that is not wounded. So you have wounded him, and we're grateful for that. But let's get rid of him together, because people at the moment, the general public in Iran don't have weapons. You are absolutely right. But majority of the tribes in Iran, as I said, like Baluch, I was talking to a colleague who is a Baluch, and he said every single home you go in Baluchistan has a gun. That's just part of the culture. Or majority of the Azeris have gone. Majority of almost all Qashqai tribe have guns. That's part of the tribe. Or the Arabs in Iran have, or the Iranian Arabs have weapons. So at the point that they are told to go out and take their weapons and pretend and protect the people, they can go out. They can go out, take their weapons, and help that last bit of freedom, sort of the last part of taking Iran back. They can do, but we haven't got to that point yet. Because a few days ago, when Khamenei was killed, people went out and celebrated. And of course, in one of the cities, which I cannot remember which city it was, they again opened fire on people, and a few people again, unfortunately, got murdered. So again, if anybody in Iran hears this, Prince have said, Reza Pahlavi has said, and said it again and again. Even President Trump have said it. Please stay home. Don't come out. We know you're happy. We know you're excited. Stay home. We need you guys alive. We need to be alive to rebuild Iran. And your life is much more precious than this. So stay home, celebrate at home, and let's wait and see when it's safe for general public to go out. But I think my prince and his team have a plan that once it's safer, that people with weapons in Iran can go out. Prince Reza Pahlavi also has organized something called Guard the Javidan. So there is the army and a lot of people who have decided to leave the IRGC have contacted him and said that they wanted to help take Iran back. So we have all these people, army, some of the people, a lot of people actually from the army have registered with him and they are happy to help. But if we are not at that point again, once we get to that point, these people will come out and make the country a safe place for general public to come out and take the country back.
You know, I'm thinking that perhaps the liberation of the Iranian people should start with, you know, opening the communication channels, Starlinks, allow Iranians to be free now, you know, to get out the information, to also exchange between themselves the necessary information, because if you need to prepare something as monumental, you know, the uprising against the regime, you need to communicate with each other, you know, somehow. So I'm, you know, just looking at what is happening, and I cannot understand why, with all of the recent technologies that were used in different places, whether it's Ukraine or so on, we still do not have, you know, enough information, because, you know, we are quite sure that a lot of things are happening, but they are just not reaching us. Yes, for example, there were a few news items that reached Israel about the IRGC people that are leaving, that are changing their uniform, and they say, well, we understand that that's the end and we don't want to, but it's really hard to say whether it's widespread phenomena or is it something that is singular, that it's happening in one city and another city. So Elon Musk, if you're listening to us, please open the communication streams in Iran, you know, allow for Iranian people to express themselves and for the world to know what is really happening there.
Because before, since I think for the last year, I would say, so a lot of the receiver for, I forgot the name, the satellite thing from
Starlink.
Starlink, thank you.
Yeah.
So a lot of Starlink receivers have been taken into Iran, but you know, if they catch them, it's immediate execution. Yeah. So it's extremely dangerous. But there are a few in Iran. We have asked and begged Elon Musk to bring the cost down so we can send to Iran in more numbers. A lot of Iranians have put forward money. So we have both. As I said, I don't know how many there are at the minute in Iran, but I know there is quite a few. But because they have to be kept secret, nobody knows where they are other than the people who use them and people who send them to Iran. So, and as I said, Guard the Javidan is one of the organizations that they have a Starlink. Now, even though they can use the Starlink right now to send us some information, it is more important to keep the stalling, to communicate between themselves when the time comes and they need to communicate, because we know this government in Iran has a lot of spies, and I think one thing you can give them, the best thing, is spying on each other, on people. So it's very important that they keep it secret, so that the moment when it comes that we need that to be used very effectively, people can use it effectively. I'm dying to find out more and more information, just like any other Iranian in the community want to know exactly what's happening and who is it happening to. But at the same time, I think being a situation as it is, having the government in Iran that we have to be careful and know what to use when to make it most effective. So I agree. If Elon Musk is hearing this, please help Iranian people. We need it. And I'm sure we can pay for it once we take in the country back. But we need your support now. But at the same time, I would say that I want people to be safe, and also to keep things like Starlinks for the time that we absolutely need it to communicate. And of course, Reza Pahlavi has also created a TV and a channel that people don't need satellite or I believe it's a FM or AM the wave, that people can just connect to it in order to be connected with outside world, because that's another thing. We are dying to get information from Iran, but I think people in Iran are even more desperate to get information from outside.
Yeah, they're thirsty for information, of course. Mandana, before we will wrap this episode, I wanted to ask you on your personal level, as a ROPES alum, and you participated in a few programs, and you've met people from Israel and Palestine and Syria and Jordan and United Arab Emirates and many others. And right now, what we see is that most of the countries in the Middle East are actually affected by this war. So it used to be only Israel, but the Iranians are just like shooting like crazy at their Arab neighbors, at Azerbaijan. Syria was affected, Jordan was affected, and many other countries here in the region. Do you care to say something to them, about this current situation? Because I mean, there is real suffering in Israel. We buried already it's 12 people who died as a result of attacks, and also there are casualties in other places across the Middle East.
Ksenia, as an Iranian, I am ashamed of the government in my country. I'm extremely against the government in my country. And I am saddened every day, not just for the people who die in Iran. I'm saddened with every innocent life that is lost unjustly in the world. Now, anything that the government in Iran has a hand in, I have to hold the world, really, every country responsible. Because as I say, for years and years and years, we warned them, we told them, and nobody took notice. Iranian government paid every majority of the governments to keep quiet, but the forefront of the reception was Iranian people and Israel. And Israel never bowed to the Iranian government, but majority of the governments in the world did, because Iran being the rich country that it is, Iranian government used the money to silence majority of the countries. Middle Eastern countries, all of the ones that are affected right now, I don't forget when there was World Cup in Qatar, and the way Qatari officials behaved towards the Iranian people was unbelievably bad, unbelievably inhumane. They arrested people for holding this flag. They arrested people if they had a t-shirt saying King Reza Pahlavi. So for the people of these countries, everyone that is harmed, everyone that is hurt, I am, from the bottom of my heart, I am really and truly sorry, but I would hold your government responsible, because I say this example and people might not understand it, but if you go and search, you know what I mean. There is a film called Frankenstein. Now, Frankenstein is created by a monster created by a scientist. And this scientist creates this monster and doesn't care what happens to the people that he comes across. But one day he comes back and bites the scientists and kills the scientists. This is the story of Iranian government. The Iranian government was put in Iran, not by the Iranian people, by the foreign forces. Again, you go back 50 years, you can study it and see why. Mm-hmm. And then they left it and let the Iranian people suffer. You know, the executions that went on the very first year that this government came to power was unbelievable. There was no court, there was no proper listening and anything. They just executed children, adults. I heard a few days ago there was a school hit, and everybody, when I talked to people, say, "Oh my God, the school hit, 100 people killed." I said, "Yeah, don't tell me that. I know I am extremely sad." But do you know that within a few, 3 years ago, they shot dead almost 60 children, and they knew they were children. And do you know right now in Iran, something around 30 to 40 children are waiting to be executed in prisons. These are children, not adults. So don't tell me that, oh my God, the school was hit and this many children died. Iranian government has executed and killed many more children. And I'm sorry that these children were killed. But when you look in the school had rocket launchers in the yard. Why would you put rocket launcher in a school guard? So when we look at the countries around the Middle East, I want to say to every resident of these countries, I am really sorry for what is happening to you guys. And I truly want to celebrate the freedom of Iran one day when it's free with every one of you. But I would question your government. Why did they keep quiet all these years? Why did they not respond to the atrocities that Iranian people were trying to raise and say, this is happening to us? You need to help us, but you didn't. And this is the result. Every time there is a government that causes atrocity, you keep quiet. This is the result. It will affect every one of us. We are lucky and really, really lucky that this is happening now. If it didn't happen right now, and Iranian government was allowed to do what it wants to do, they will have an atomic bomb. We will all be dead now. If they were allowed to have atomic bomb, that's what it would do. They would bully the whole world. So I am as sad as I am for the lost lives. I cannot say how grateful I am this is happening today and not in next year and not the year after that, because we won't be able to take Iran back. And we will just have created this huge monster that nobody can stop. So again, I want to say, I am sorry to everybody who has been affected by this war. I really am sorry. But from the bottom of my heart, I hope you all stay safe. And believe you me, all Iranians feel for every one of you. But this is a necessity that when we leave a monster to grow and grow and grow, this is what it's going to do.
Yeah, the message is clear. The monster has to go. Thank you very much, dear Mandana, for being with us today. It was amazing to be on the show.
Thank you so much, Ksenia. Again, I would say I am extremely honored to be part of ROPES, and I would encourage anybody who thinks that they can be an effective person in ROPES, please be part of it. And I don't want to take time. I know we're running out of time, but just that the peace between the nations in Middle East is absolutely possible. It is possible if you want to be a part of it, and know that we are all can live together in peace as long as we respect each other. And, you know, I am extremely proud to have met all the people I have met in ROPES, and my life has definitely been enriched by being in ROPES. And again, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and this platform to be the voice of people of Iran, especially in Iran.
You're a wonderful voice, Mandana, and really you remind us all that everything is connected here. Our Middle Eastern region is interconnected. And if there is suffering in one part of it, it doesn't matter which part, and there is a lot of suffering going on all across the region. People just will not be able to live happily and freely in other parts as well. We have to get it right. You've been listening to the ROPESCAST, the independent voice of the Middle East. Our guest today was Mandana, a British Iranian social activist, a media personality who participated in ROPE's media program and became a ROPE's alum. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and follow us on social media. You can also donate to whatever you feel comfortable with at our website ropes.org and help us to carry on our activities. I'm Ksenia Svetlova. Shalom and salam.